Hello, everybody. I am pleased to introduce She Major. It's the all-female a cappella group. It's formed by freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. The group has been with our event for 3 years, and we're happy to have them tonight. They could be doing homework, catching up with their Learn Anywhere or something, but they are here with us. And besides that, they're really fun to watch. They seem to be having fun when you watch them performing. And they are also an award-winning group for percussion, vocals. They have won regional awards, so we are very pleased and happy to have them tonight.
Are you going?
So, hi, we're She Major, and we would just like to thank the Human Rights Commission for having us sing for you. It's an honor, and we love coming back. So, our first song will be Common Ground with a featured soloist by Casey McGibbon.
Make our way back to common ground. Make our way back to common ground. Make our way back to common ground. Make our way back. Am I angry? Tell me, am I angry at the picture in my head of what's ahead? I'm trying to have patience, but my heart keeps on breaking. 'Cause I trust you to protect, but you turn your back instead. Too many times I let you get away with murder. How am I to explain this insanity to our future? You can call it what you want, but I'm watching what you do, and I'm calling you out, and I'm calling you out. If we pretend like we don't know, we won't mend and we won't grow. So I'm calling you out, and I'm reaching out to make our way back to common ground. Let's make our way back to common ground. Make our way back to common ground. Make our way back. You had me thinking it was perfect and nothing wrong, but now I see I was deceived. The cracks have shown. Couldn't believe it. I perceived it was built on truth. Uncover the facts. Damn, let's see what else you got hiding. Black and white, black and white, black and white. You cut out the colors, the paint a line. The red on your hands is hard to hide, but all of a sudden you're colorblind. Black and white, black and white, black and white. Despite all the pictures of painted lies, I have a dream that we make it right. I have a dream. So call it what you want, but I'm watching what you do, and I'm calling you out, and I'm calling you out. Don't pretend like we don't know. We won't mend and we won't grow. So I'm calling you out, and I'm reaching out to make our way back to common ground. Let's make our way back to common ground. I can't move forward without you. I ain't about to leave our legacy to wither away. There's too much at stake. I know we can make our way. Too many times I let you get away with murder.
with us Town Administrator Stephen Mayo, Chief Richard Smith of the Wakefield Police Department, Deputy Chief Calabrese of the Wakefield Police Department, Lieutenant Stephen Scory of the Wakefield Police Department. We also have Melrose Mayor Gail Inferna, Town Councilors Mayreen Butt, Julie Smith Galvin, Anthony Longo, and School Committee Member Anne Marie Fortier. If you could please stand, thank you all for being here tonight. We appreciate that so much. And also, we have State Representative Paul Brodeur. Thank you. I'm the Family Services Officer for the Wakefield Police Department, and I'm also a Commissioner with the Wakefield Human Rights Commission. On behalf of the Commission, I would like to thank everyone for being here, joining us here tonight for the Women's International Panel discussion. International Women's Day is a global celebration of the social, economic, and political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating gender equality. With us tonight, we have 5 amazing local women who have made and continue to make a difference in our community and region. Please join me in welcoming Maya Jalmadine, a first-generation Lebanese-American immigrant who is the chair of the Melrose Human Rights Commission and a full-time case manager for Elliott Community Human Services. And next to her, we have Allison Melman, the proud mother of 2 Wakefield High School students. Allison is a member of the Wakefield Board of Health and has worked in the public health field for over 20 years. In December, Allison donated her left kidney to someone in need of a transplant.
Wow.
And next to Allison, we have Maureen Busby, who is the Regional Tobacco Prevention Coordinator for 5 local communities, including Wakefield. Maureen is involved with several local community organizations in her hometown of Melrose, including the Melrose Alliance Against Violence. And next we have Nicole Jacob, who currently works as the program coordinator for the North Suburban Family Network and has 3 children in the Wakefield Public Schools. Nicole will be running the upcoming Boston Marathon in April. And next we have Lizbeth DeSelm, who is a scientist performing basic research in the field of drug discovery for the next immuno-oncology therapy. Lizbeth serves on the Melrose School Committee and has served on the Melrose Human Rights Commission. Welcome all. And I know all of you have questions that you're probably going to want to ask at the end, so I'm going to get right to it, and we're going to start off with a question for Maya. Maya, you have organized many events celebrating different cultures. What has been the response in the community?
Yeah.
Every event have been great, and everybody in my community and around appreciated, our effort and the knowledge and education that we provide to all generations, children, parents, and community, overall. We had a lot of people showed, were very grateful and they showed up to our events, and not one event. People gathered for visuals. People gathered for culture events like Diwali and like Iftar, and they were very grateful.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Allison, can you please share with us your experience having donated a kidney and what is the importance of living donors? Oh, here, you can pass that right down. We can share. No, nothing wrong with sharing our microphones at work.
So I thought Maya was going to talk longer. Amy, can you repeat that question?
Absolutely. Can you please share with us your experience having donated a kidney and what is the importance of living donors?
Sure.
So as Amy mentioned earlier, I donated my left kidney, which was the one that was totally weighing me down. I just had to get rid of it. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, actually started a Facebook page for her brother who had a genetic condition called Alport's disease, which causes kidney failure. And they were looking for a living donor, which is actually a much faster way for somebody who's in need of an organ to get one. And I thought, you know, what the heck? I'll get tested. You know, if nothing else, it's free healthcare screening at MGH, so why not? At every step of the way, I kept thinking I was going to be disqualified. Like, surely they'll find something wrong at this stage and at this stage, and they kept calling me back. And as it turned out, we were a really good match, and so I donated the heavy one that was weighing me down at the end of December. So it's been about 2 months, and my recipient has transformed into an entirely different person. He looks different. He acts different. He has energy. He doesn't feel sick for the first time in 8 years. He has color in his face. He's going to the gym. He's working out. He is ecstatic. And I think the best part for me, besides seeing how incredibly happy he is that I've gained a whole new family. And I picked a good one because they have a house in Florida with a pool. So, and I have a standing invitation. So it was a total score for me. But I think the thing I really want to convey is that there are so many people out there, particularly people who need kidneys, and it's a very long wait on the waiting list for people to get a deceased donor, and of course, sadly, that means that somebody has to die in order for them to get that kidney. And the process of living donation is easier than you might think. And it really gives somebody a second chance at life. And plus, for the donors, when you're in the hospital, they give you a swag bag. You get like a T-shirt and a water bottle, so it's totally worth it. But really, I can't say enough about the Living Donor Program, particularly at MGH. And how important it is for people to be educated about living donation and understand not only the need for it, but how easy it is actually for people to participate. Really, you just have to be incredibly healthy and a blood type match for somebody, and that's really all there is to it. And you can really change someone's life.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Maureen, what was your role as a mentor to the Melrose Alliance Against Violence middle school program? And what effects have you seen since the mentor program began?
Okay, first of all, it's very hard to follow that story. And a couple of weeks ago when I heard it for the first, I actually read it with tears in my eyes. And all I can say is I think you missed one of the qualifications that a donor has to have, and that's a lot of courage. So thank you, Allison. Let's see. About 10 years ago, I learned that the Melrose Alliance Against Violence had a middle school mentor program. So I signed up and had an interview, and I was selected to be a mentor and joined the program. And they do a great job, a lot of training for the mentors, and then we get matched with a mentee. And I was matched with a young girl who had just recently come from Nigeria. She and her mom and her 5 brothers and sisters, they had been in the country about 2 months when we were matched up. She was in middle school at Melrose High School, Melrose Middle School. And anyway, so I met her in the mentoring program, and she was she is very smart, very talented, very capable, but new to this country. And the idea of the mentoring program wasn't for me to tutor her in her schoolwork or anything. People are matched up in the mentor program for different reasons, but for her, it was to maybe help her, and some of her brothers and sisters were in the program as well, but help her learn more about our country and our life, the culture, so on and so forth. So we did some group events, but then we also did some events on our own. So we made cookies. I took her into Boston to see some of the sites. We went canoeing. She was very afraid of the water, but we went with with one of my sisters and her kids, and the canoe tipped over, and she was delighted. She was absolutely delighted. And we played endless games of Uno and Rummy Cube, and I can tell you that she cheats because she must, because she beat me, all the time. But anyway, so through my relationship with my mentee, I met members of her family and her mom. And in the years that I was a formal mentor through the program, through her middle school years, a couple of situations came up where I was able to find some resources for the mom to help her with certain things. So we became friendly and became friends. Sometimes on a hot summer night, I would take some of the kids, whoever wanted to, over to Nahant Beach just to escape the heat. Not my mentee. She hated the beach. She never went, but some of her brothers and sisters did. So we became friendly. Myself and my family members helped the family move a couple of times, including unhooking a washer in the basement and dragging it up basement steps, things like that. But anyway, and then the family moved to Central Mass a couple of years ago, and I lost touch with them. And then through a family tragedy, we regained touch. And in the last few months, I've actually been the family's conduit to their old connections here in this community and in Melrose. Connecting with the Melrose Alliance Against Violence, the robotics team that my mentee's brother was on, and things like that. And I have to say, it's been painful at times, but it's also been rewarding to know that through a program sponsored by the Melrose Alliance Against Violence in Melrose, I met a family and was involved in a friendship way with various members of the family, but especially with the mom, so that in this this time of trial and tribulation, she could reach out to me. I was very humbled that she could reach out to me and ask me to help with certain situations. And not all formal mentor programs work like that. Sometimes the mentor-mentee relationship, ends when the formal program is over. And sometimes, and I know of other similar situations where that friendship has carried on through the years. And I'm very grateful to have been in the program and learned what I learned through the program, and to be connected with this lovely family.
Thank you, Maureen. Nicole, how have the needs of families changed in the North suburban areas? And are there obstacles preventing you from servicing families?
Like she said, my name is Nicole Jacob. I'm with the North Suburban Family Resource Network here in Wakefield. And we just got a new town. We're now serving Malden. So I would say, as a parent myself, some of the challenges maybe right now is lots of families are back to work full time. And so the programs that we have are during the day, or they're not long enough, and there's not that many things out there that that are more affordable and not so expensive. So I'm super nervous, so excuse the in there. So right now we're just really trying to get out there really in the community with Facebook and other means of social media, and just meeting a lot of families. We have a lot of immigrant families that are in Malden, and just trying to reach out to them to bring them in and be very connected to the community. And I'm from Chicago, so when I first moved here, I had my daughter and my older son. My one son is in high school, and my daughter's in middle school. Then I have an 11-year-old as well. And the resource network was something that I used for my children and got to meet people, and then became really involved in the school because I just believe that service, within the community is so very important, and that's the way that you meet people and you get to know what's going on, and you have your pulse on what's going on. And so I think with the network, that's what we're really trying to help families just get connected and have a friendly face when they go out. If they're like at the gym, that's where some of our groups are at the gym, and some of them are at the Boys and Girls Club. And so when they see us, then they know that, any questions that they may have or help navigating this new life that they have, that we're there for them. So that's about it.
And Liz, you are the third openly transgender person to be elected to any level of government in the Commonwealth. What did you have to do to get your voice heard?
Does it work?
Yeah.
Can you? All right, good. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I was only the third openly transgender person to be elected in the Commonwealth. What did I have to do to make my voice heard? So I was recently on a podcast where I was asked a similar question, and the answer is essentially, I hear women and I hear minorities talk about how they have to work that extra mile to be able to go out and be seen and understood and taken at face value rather than all of the background. I felt like I had to do the same thing, right? I mean, I had to go out. I for the first 3 years as a elected, I worked hard to be informed on the budget and in the community talking about the budget and school issues and so on and so forth. And it was only because of all the work that I did there that I was able to eventually come out strong for Yes on 3 and fight for trans rights, because the last thing I want to be is that trans candidate. So I have to work that extra hard. And forgive me, as a scientist, I view the world as a different way. So that is off-putting for a lot of people as well. So I kind of have to overcome the asking questions and having people be defensive on it. But what did I do? I just worked hard. I continually worked hard. I was out at events. I was out with people. I served with 2 of these lovely ladies on the Melrose Human Rights Commission, and did anything and everything I could to be seen as a person first, rather than as a label. And so it was really about shedding the label and being out front and open with who I am. And sometimes that meant educating as well.
Thank you. Now I have a question for each of you ladies, if you can answer it. And then I have a few other possible ones. If you don't want to answer it, that's okay. No, just the one question and other possibles. They're easy enough. But okay, so. You know what? To be fair, you're right. I'll start. That is fair, Maya. You are absolutely right. I'll start with Liz. All right, question to each of you, or in any order you want to go. Whoever wants to take it first, that's fine.
I don't mind being the volunteer. I don't mind being the tribute.
Thank you, Liz. All right. Intersectionality is a growing topic. Different types of prejudice can be amplified when put together. Intersectionality is the complex, cumulative manner in which the effects of different forms of discrimination combine, overlap, or intersect. This could be based on an individual's race, class, language, culture, ethnicity, gender, age, ability, sexuality, or education. Has intersectionality affected you in any way?
You sure you guys don't want to take the mic first? Intersectionality. Well, I am married to a woman, so by societal standards, I'm a lesbian. I'm transgender. I'm the parent of a gender questioning child. I am a scientist, so add your inner Sheldon to anything that you see for me. Intersectionality plays at everything I do, and the way I counteract that is I ignore it. I go forward and I do what I have to do. At some point in my own transition, in my own life, I recognize that ultimately, if someone has a problem with who I am, that's not my problem. That's theirs. Ultimately, I stopped caring about how other people view me, taken with a grain of salt based on everything I just said, obviously. But I mean, ultimately I stopped owning whether or not they like me and whether or not they view me as this, that, and the other thing. I can only control me. And so how does the intersectionality, how do I deal with it? By going boldly forward.
So, well, as you can see, I am African American, and so I would say that, and being a woman, and then not from Massachusetts, those might be three things against me. But in a like in a joking way. But so the way that I work with intersectionality is my goal. After I had children, I knew that wherever I was, I had to really make an effort to just make sure the people who are not like me and knew my family, and there were no questions that that we that sometimes it's a feeling of belonging, and making sure that everyone knew that we belonged, you belong. To we want to be out there with you in your journey. We want you to be with us in our journey. And so I think that that's the way kind of I've brought up my children, and my husband kind of feels, both feel the same way, that we are just going through life, making sure our doors are always open and we are open, and hopefully all of our friends and our the people that we're involved with are the same. They feel open like us. So that's the way that we maneuver through this world, and where all lives and races and religion and everything meet up.
So I had a couple of different ways I was going to, as Nicole was speaking, address this. One was in my early work career when I was a young female manager at a male-dominated large company in Boston, and all the issues that I faced, like the first time I ever went into a department meeting where I was a new manager, and there were 12 other managers in that room, all male, and the director said, "Oh, and here's our token female." So things like that, but that's kind of in the past, not really in the past, because I know women still face those things. But anyway, I just wanted to share this story with you. My son is married to a lovely Pakistani woman. She wears a hijab. And I remember on the day that I heard the news about 3 Muslim students in North Carolina being executed in a hate crime. I hope I don't cry when I tell this story. But anyway, I called my son that night and I said, "How are you guys doing?" And with a catch in his voice, he said, they live in South Boston, and my daughter-in-law works at Children's Hospital, and she takes public transportation. And with a very strained voice, he said, "Well, you know, Mom, when Maria goes to the subway, she never stands at the front of the platform. She always stands in the back."
So, I mean, that it's hard to answer a question that broad. I mean, for me personally, as a woman and someone who is gay and Jewish, and there are so many ways where we could be the target of any kind of discrimination, whether it's in the workplace or on public transportation or wherever you are, and we all have we call it intersectionality, but really what it's about is how many boots do we each have on our necks that hold us down, and some of us have more than others, and certainly while I've witnessed and experienced discrimination in the ways that I identify. I'm also keenly aware of the ways in which I don't experience discrimination, and very aware of my white privilege, and how important it is for me to be an ally for people of color. And we have to look out for each other, and we all have different boots on our necks, and until we work together to pull them all off, we have to keep trying.
So in 2003, I got you don't want to hear me now. So the day that I took the visa, my dad was crying. He was very afraid how his younger child is gonna do in different country and away from him. He raised me well, and he raised me to accept differences and advocate for myself. And when I came here, I saw a lot of this. I lived a lot of discrimination. I was harassed. My kids were harassed at school and everywhere else. And I couldn't ignore it because this is not what I taught. I was, raised as, and because he didn't want me to raise my kids different than that. So I had to fight for it, and I had to advocate for my kids and teach them how to advocate for themselves. And I had to get involved in my community to spread awareness and to at least try to decrease a little bit of harm for my kids and for other kids that they chose to be silent. And here I am, I'm the chair of the Melrose Human Rights Commission, and I know he's in the other world, but I hope he's listening to me and he's proud of me right now.
And at this time, I would like to open it up to the audience if they have any questions, in general or for a specific person on the panel here. Hold on one moment. Sorry, I sprung that on you real quick. I just figure. Yes, here, and I'm going to walk up with the microphone. I can hand mine away. Oh, we do, okay. So hand.
Do I ask? I'm on. Oh, sorry. I didn't know there was somebody behind me. Hi, thank you all so much for sharing everything. I sort of have a general question for anyone. How do you have any tips, advice, or just share how you're surviving in the current political climate for self-care or other?
Hi, can you hear me now? For me, one of the things that I feel I have to do is speak out and speak up and point out things that I disagree with or things that I think are being done that harm us all, whether it's the climate, whether it's pouring metals into our drinking water, whatever it might be. And I do that frequently enough that I have probably estranged myself from some family members and some neighbors and maybe some friends. But I can't go to sleep at night unless I speak out and react to the things that are going on in this country.
So one of the things that I like to do, which I probably shouldn't do, is I say really snarky things on Facebook, and um, and I often post a lot of political things because I can't help myself. So if you're friends with me on Facebook or follow me on Twitter, you'll see. But like Maureen, I feel like it's incredibly important to be aware and be involved and to speak out, particularly when we witness injustice. And then, more practically support candidates we believe in for leadership positions, and make sure we do what we can to get them elected. And yeah.
Can you hear me? So, yes. I tell you, there are days where I am visibly like in my stomach, just completely sick, and I don't feel like I know what to do. But I do run. So the self-care is what I need to do. I wish I could come up with quips to say. I mean, I do, tell if the situation arises and there's a conversation, I will, speak my mind and I don't care. But I find that I have to exercise, and I think I've been throwing myself into my kids' lives probably a bit more than I need to be, because I need my mind to not be on what's going on. But that's just me for now.
So my first reaction was a lot of chocolate. I relate to everything they have said. Advocate, don't be silent, lean into topics that you're passionate about, and lean into your kids. That I set up self-care years ago with my children, doing activities that they enjoy, be it coaching soccer or the annual pilgrimage to Anime Boston. But I lean into their activities and try to make their activities our activities, not to take away ownership, but to be involved and relevant in their lives. And I use that as a shield from all of the hate and bigotry that I see outside. Speaking of hate and bigotry, can we get a celebration that the conversion therapy ban was moved out of committee and will be brought to Beacon Hill for full vote today? What kind of mentality do you have to tell your child that you weren't born perfect, and in fact you must change to suit my ideals? That I live that life.
Were any of you Girl Scouts?
So I grew up in a very small town in Vermont, and we didn't have Girl Scouts. Are you a Girl Scout? Great.
So I was never a Girl Scout, but I eat lots of Girl Scout cookies, so I hope that counts. I like.
Back home, we didn't have Girl Scouts.
Hi. You guys do like so many amazing things for your communities. I was just wondering, like, what's the most rewarding part of it? Hi. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure.
Can you repeat your question.
Oh yeah, you guys do like so many like rewarding things for the community. What's the most rewarding part for you?
My rewarding is when I see my kids learning from their parents and proud of their backgrounds. I was always afraid to walk with my kids to school because they will be identified as Muslim if I walk with them. So that was my main struggle. And I love to walk with my kids to school, but I had to stop it for a certain time. Not anymore, because I think they're very proud of their parents' background, and that's because of the work that we've done for them, and that's a big rewards for us.
There we go. Okay. I'd say one of the things I'm most proud of in terms of the work I do in the community is the work I do on the Wakefield Board of Health, and in particular, the regulations we've put in place over the last several years. I've been on the board for 6 years, but the regulations we've put in place to try and prevent kids from smoking and more recently from taking up vaping. And I think we've made some great strides in Wakefield, thanks in large part to Maureen. And I think I see Catherine lurking in the back. And Laurel. I can't talk to you though because we're a quorum. So. So I'd say, yeah, I think that's the most rewarding part for me.
And I thank God for Laurel and Allison on the Wakefield Board of Health. I think that when we were talking about what do we do, in the political climate that we're in and how do we stay sane and that kind of thing. So the rewarding thing for me is with all the different things I've done in my community over the years, League of Women Voters, Melrose Alliance Against Violence, MORE, or Melrose Organizing for Real Equality, is I have a place that I can go where there are like-minded people, where there are going to be people who have the same values and the same philosophies, and I can, just, I don't even have to say anything. I can just be in their company and feel better on a very bad day, like after a difficult election or something like that.
I would have to agree with Maya. I just seeing the success of my kids and the things that they've done. Also, even when I was volunteering with the Greenwood School and even the Galvin, and just seeing some of the things that I kind of helped with the PTO to bring, and just seeing everyone having fun. That's my biggest thing. Like me and some other ladies at the Greenwood started it was one person's idea for the Greenwood, the Gator Gallop, and I think right now it's like in the 4th year, and so this is the first year that I'm not a part of it, but just remembering about that, and it has to do with running, so all that, anything running related, it makes me happy, and just seeing like my kids, and they have good grades, and they seem to be good people, and that what I'd say would be the most rewarding right now.
Helping people, really, that's my reward. I in the various roles, be it drug discovery, be it coaching, Human Rights Commission, as an activist for equal rights, or on the school committee, meeting people and helping in some way, if I possibly can, that is more rewarding than I can put into words. And then separately, watching my kids thrive. There's something indescribably good about watching your kids do well and grow into wonderful adults.
Question for Nicole. Have you ever run in a marathon?
Meg, I know that's your question. I've done a few this year with my friend Julie, who's back there, and I think that's it. We'll be running the Boston Marathon this year in April.
And I will be putting her medal on at the finish.
Hi, all. Thank you again. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Oh, Pina. Thank you again. This is wonderful. So my question is for our young women and students here. Can you look back to a personality or character trait from when you were young women and students that sort of has carried you forward through your challenges and then sort of where you are in your roles today?
I'm going to say perseverance. My mother, when I was a teenager, my father passed early, and she was, I mean, we were all, upset, but she was like, we're going to get a new start. We're going to start all over from the beginning. We moved to Puerto Rico. She said she wanted us to learn Spanish. We needed to just start fresh. We lived in the country there and just, really worked hard learning Spanish, just immersing ourselves within the culture. And she just did this as a single parent. We had no family there, nothing, no friends, nothing out there. And she just, stayed the course. And so I look at that like, in my life, like just, stay the course, persevere, and, hopefully I'm imparting that in the kids, the same thing. You set your mind to something, you stay the course, you keep on going, and you'll succeed.
I have my own version of the I think it's a serenity prayer. Recognize that which you can change, be angry at injustices. But that I keep to myself. And that's something I've carried with me since I was but really persevere. Tomorrow's a better day. Tomorrow's a better day if you can try to make it a better day. But you have to try, you have to actively work at it.
So many things, but I think one of my guiding principles has been family first. If I take care of my family, treat my family well, whether that's my elderly mother when she was still alive, whether that was my son as a boy and as a young man, other family members, then as I focus on them, some of those other things that are troubling and bother me, whether it's in work or in the national politics or wherever it is, they're important, but my family first.
I would have to say for me, just not being afraid to speak up, and humor and and sharp tongue, and not being afraid to use it.
I feel that every generation has different set or that they would follow and or rules. Back when I was a student, not that I stopped, I'm still a student, but long time ago, school student, I was, it was all study, very boring. Now with my kids, I feel that I can teach them and I would encourage them to speak up and to believe that not because they're different, that means that they're wrong. Being different they can be still very right when they're different than others. And that would apply to all minorities.
What advice would you give to someone or a young person dealing with social pressure today?
the advice is if you believe that you're right, ignore everyone around you. Just believe in yourself and thrive. That's what's right. Believe in yourself.
I would say talk to your parents. I know we're like a big bunch of dorks, but we actually know a lot and have experienced a lot and can actually be helpful. So actually, if you know my kids, you want to let them know. It's fine. But seriously, talk to your parents. They know more than you think they do.
I remember, believe it or not, I do remember my high school days a long time ago, but I do remember, and everything felt like a popularity contest. And so if I were to do high school over again, I think I would try to remember that being the most popular or, best at this or whatever, it's in the end, it's not going to be so important in the rest of your life. If you could just remember that there's a life beyond this moment, this time you didn't get asked to the prom or whatever it is, to just somehow, unfortunately you probably get that with age, that wisdom comes with age, but if you could only know earlier that those bad days will pass, and being in the in crowd or being in that clique or whatever is really not that important.
I agree with all of what they were saying, and I would just say maybe being transparent with maybe an adult. It might be hard to be transparent with your friends, but I still think just speaking your mind and being honest in who you are and what you want to do, I think would can kind of help as well.
Agreed. Have your adult support group, be it a special teacher, a parent, a neighbor, somebody. Listening to Maureen talk about high school, my motto was sort of embrace the weird. I was a skater and a guitarist in a punk band, and but a stoner that didn't actually do any drugs. Seriously, my friends would be, we've got a party this weekend and there's going to be some of this, that, and the other thing. You want to go? No, not really. Okay, good, thanks. And I was a nerd because I was in all honors classes and AP courses. And so I had this really weird dynamic of different groups. We talked about intersectionality earlier. And I came to just accept the weird, and I owned it. And so to piggyback, trust your own decision making. You have supports, use them, and own it.
Thank you, everyone. All right, well, I speak loud enough. So that concludes tonight. Thank you for spending the last hour in the sauna with us, listening to these amazing 5 women speak. I don't know if any of you have time, if people want to come up at the end and ask you something. If some of you have time, you can hang around. If not, thank you again for coming out tonight. We appreciate it, and happy International Women's Day. And we have a quick performance by She Major, almost forgot, coming out to conclude the event. Don't leave yet. Stay still. Thank you, everyone.
For listening to us. And also, can we just have one more round of applause for that amazing panel of women? Okay, and And so we will be singing a mashup of Skyfall and Writings on the Wall with soloists Elizabeth Nordine and Leah Spillane.
Difficulties.
Sorry.
There we go.
This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. Feel the earth move and then hear my heart burst again.
Then there's no more use in running. This is something I gotta face.
Let the sky fall when it crumbles. We will stand tall and face it all together.
How do I live? How do I breathe when you're not here? I'm suffocated. I wanna feel love run through my blood. Tell me, is this where I give it all up? For you, I have to risk it all. 'Cause the writings
At Skyfall,
a million shards of glass.
Skyfall is where we
That haunts me
start.
from my past.
A million miles and
As the
poles
stars begin to
apart.
gather
You may have my
and the light
number.
begins
You
to
can take
fade.
my
When
name.
all hope begins to shatter,
have my
know that I won't be afraid. If I risk it all, could you break my fall?
Where you go, I go.
How do I live?
What you see, I see.
How do I breathe?
I know I'll never be
when you're not here?
without the
I'm
security
suffocating.
of your